Good evening, this is Eswatini TV News at 8, read to you by myself, Natile Sitole, alongside Nomaklabiso Ngambule. First up, let's have a look at our top stories. The Prime Minister, Eswatini, has arrived in Lilongwe, Malawi for the 41st Extraordinary SADC Summit. The Ministry of Education and Training Principal Secretary Begi Gama says the first day of school's opening was smooth. And now the news in detail. The Prime Minister Eswatini has arrived in Lilongwe, Malawi for the 41st Extraordinary SADC Summit, which will be held on Wednesday, the 12th of January 2022. The Prime Minister will represent His Majesty King Eswatini III at the one-day summit in Lilongwe.
The Prime Minister Cleopas Sipho Dlamini arrived in Malawi through the Kamuzi International Airport in Lilongwe. The Prime Minister is in Malawi to represent His Majesty King Eswatini III during the 41st Extraordinary SADC Summit here in Lilongwe. Following the cancellation of the virtual SADC Summit late last week, the heads of state and government of the SADC region have elected to meet in person in the city of Lilongwe in Malawi to primarily deliberate and review the peace and security situation in northern Mozambique, specifically in the province of Cabo Delgado. His Majesty King Eswatini III has commanded the Prime Minister Cleopas Sipho Dlamini to represent him at this particular extraordinary summit. In concert of the summit decision of last year instructing the standby force to deploy and mount a definite challenge and quell the infestation of insurgents in Mozambique, leaders will take stock of the relative progress with the possibility of extending for 6 months beginning mid-January 2022. The Kingdom of Eswatini stands in solidarity with the people of the Republic of Mozambique and is hopeful that with the defeat and complete eradication of the insurgents, the action will bring peaceful transition in the northern regions for citizens to resume their normal lives. The Prime Minister is in the company of the Minister for Foreign Affairs, Tulsile Dada, and the Minister for Economic Planning and Development in the Kingdom of Eswatini, Dr. Tambo Kina. For Eswatini TV News, I'm Lincoln Gulem, Lilongwe, Malawi.
The Ministry of Education and Training Principal Secretary Begi Gama says the first day of school's opening was smooth. Gama said teachers and pupils returned in impressive numbers, and our reporter Fortune Langamandla has the latest.
The Ministry of Education and Training says in all regions of the country, schools reopening was smooth. The Principal Secretary in the Ministry of Education and Training, Begi Gama, elaborates.
The situation is calm and the attendance is excellent. In fact, teachers, almost all teachers are back in school. In some schools, a few students are not yet back, but we'll see as the week progresses. But generally, the reports we're getting is that they are okay. Of course, we do have schools that we, in our opinion, were sort of like, we're looking at them with a very close scrutiny. And we also checked those and we found that the situation is calm and students are all back and attending classes.
On another note, Gama says the ministry will work with parents in fixing schools which were damaged during the unrest.
Government assists all schools wherever possible, with the assistance of parents as well, where government will then come in and help the school, because generally schools belong to parents. They are the custodians of the schools, they look after the school, they protect the schools. So if there is any damage, the parents are the first people who get hurt in the process. And then the ministry only intervenes to assist them. Yes, and then we assist in every way that we can as government and as a ministry.
Gama applauds parents for allowing people to go back to schools. He hopes the third term will run smoothly. For Eswatini TV News, Fortune Langamandla. Good Tembinkosi Mavimbela Mbabane.
2 accused persons in the murder of a man who allegedly assaulted patrons at Moya Munye Bar have filed an urgent bail application before the High Court. The accused persons are alleged to have stabbed the deceased several times all over the body on Christmas Eve. The juror says it will plead not guilty during trial.
Hours before Christmas, Mncedisi Sibonginkosi Mkiri Khumalo was stabbed several times all over the body. This happened at Moyamunye Bar at New Village in Manzini, where after 2 suspects were arrested. The suspects, who are Tabiso Nhlakanipho Mavuso, aged 22, of Mtsambama, and Pumlane Pelelani Hlope, 32 years of age, of Mbulungwane, have since filed an urgent application for bail before the High Court. In his founding affidavit, Hlope told the court that they will plead not guilty during trial. Hlope also told the court that the deceased was drunk on the day in question. He alleged that the deceased picked fights with different patrons in the bar. Hlope also alleged that the deceased slapped him and his friend without any provocation. He told the court that when they asked the deceased why he assaulted them, the deceased reportedly said he was instilling discipline in them. Hlope alleged that they retaliated by punching the deceased with fists, and other patrons also threatened to beat up the drunk Khumalo. He also alleged that Khumalo drew a Rambo knife and threatened to stab anyone who came close to him. Hlope told the court that his friend and him retreated while other patrons at the bar chased after Khumalo, who bolted out of the bar. He alleged that they learned in the morning that Khumalo had been beaten and stabbed to death. Hlope submitted to the court that they were then arrested on the 28th of December 2021 and charged with Khumalo's murder. The Crown has since filed a notice to intention to oppose the bail application. The two accused persons are represented by Matogoza Mpamali in the matter, expected to be before court on the 19th of January. This matter will be before Judge Maxine Langwenya. For Eswatini TV News, Temgosima Vimbela, High Court.
Chief Justice Bheki Maphalala has appointed top lawyer Eswatini Desmond Jele as the chairman of the tribunal in terms of the Legal Practitioners Act. Maphalala says this appointment is effective forthwith from January 10, 2022. Jele is one of the senior legal eagles of this country who have been involved in major cases.
Chief Justice Bheki Maphalala has appointed top lawyer Eswatini Desmond Jele as the chairman of the tribunal in terms of the Legal Practitioners Act. This follows the formal resignation of the previous chairman. Maphalala says he hopes Jele will receive the necessary cooperation from the Council of the Law Society as well as the legal fraternity in the execution of his mandate. Maphalala says the former chairman of the tribunal resigned due to operational challenges which he experienced in the execution of his mandate. The CJ also says this was caused by the lack of the requisite support. Jele has been appointed in terms of the Legal Practitioners Act of 1964. This act clearly states that the disciplinary tribunal shall have a chairman who shall be a person qualified to be appointed a judge. The chairman has the power to select 2 members of the tribunal in consultation with the president of the council in the Law Society among members of the Law Society. The tribunal, chaired by Jele, has the power to inquire and decide that a legal practitioner is guilty of professional misconduct. The tribunal also inquires and decides whether it would be contrary to public interest to allow a legal practitioner to continue to practice as such because of any mental or physical disability. Where it finds it to be so, it can direct the Law Society to make an application to the High Court for an order suspending the said legal practitioner from practicing as such for a period exceeding 3 months or removing him from the role. The tribunal can also suspend the legal practitioner from practicing as a legal practitioner for a period not exceeding 3 months. It can also impose on the legal practitioner a penalty not exceeding 1,000 emalangeni, which shall be payable to the Law Society Fidelity Fund. The Act states that the tribunal shall inform the Attorney General, the Registrar, and the Council of the Law Society within 14 days of any decision being made regarding disciplinary issues. Jele is not new to the hot seat as he was part of the impeachments of former Chief Justice Michael Ramodibedi and that of Judge Sipho Nkosi. He is also a senior partner of one of the top law firms in the country, Robinson Bertram. For Eswatini TV News, Temgosi Mavimbela, Mbabane.
The Commonwealth Local Governance Forum with Junior Achievement is training women from different municipalities around the country on the formation of cooperatives to help them benefit from the different financial assistance put in place by government. This was said by Junior Achievement's Communications and Marketing Specialist, Sipho Mkhonta, during the training held at Matsapa City Council.
In the year 2019, the Commonwealth Local Governance Forum with Junior Achievement started a program to train women from different municipalities on entrepreneurship. Junior Achievement's Communications and Marketing Specialist Sipho Mkhonta says they have improved the program to bring diversity.
We saw the need of from the women to actually form cooperatives, savings and cooperatives, because they would like to also access the funds that our government has put in place to actually assist them start off their businesses. They are going to be trained on all 4 regions, and we're going to then have the executive committees also being trained so that we can start the savings and cooperatives. They have quite a number of interesting business ideas that they want to start, and we are looking forward to them approaching your Rural Development Fund for assisting them in actually kickstarting the project that they are wanting to start.
Xolile Thwala, Commonwealth's Local Governance Forum's consultant, explains why they decided to support the initiative.
Intentionally, the intention wasn't to focus on women when we started, but you find that statistics say that it is normally women that need more help. It is normally women that have these small businesses that are struggling and need hand-holding. And obviously we do know that if you empower a woman, you actually empower a community. So that's why we end up sort of focusing on women.
Sipho Mkhonta, who was part of the training, says now they will be able to form cooperatives that will be sustainable and help in improving their lives. She further says they will also learn to make certain type of fertilizer to sell and make a living.
Kutasisita kakhulu because kuba malunga etinhlangano telibambiswano sibomake. Kutasisita kakhulu ngoba kutokhona ukuthi kusifundise ukuthi letinhlangano tethu tingawi. Sikhone lokuthi sathi ukuthi kuqhubeka kanjani ma-co-ops, sikhone nalokuthi sathi sinasiyonga le mali siyongela ukuthi sitawuvula emabhizinisi njengoba sesitawuqala nje yalokufunda ngokwakha bokashi, sikhone nokuthi simthengise emadolobheni ethu lahlukahlukene.
Junior Achievement says it will continue working with the forum to better the lives of Emaswati. For Eswatini TV News, Nelson Langamandla with Mbongwa Dube, Matsapa.
Principals in some schools in the country pray that there will be no disruptions during the term as pupils are expected to sit for their examinations. The head teacher said this when Eswatini TV News visited some of them in Babani.
As schools reopen on Tuesday for the 3rd term, pupils and teachers return in their numbers. Eswatini TV News spoke to some head teachers in some schools around Babani who wish for smooth continuation of classes.
Our wishes is that at least this term the kids are not disturbed by the pandemic and also the unrest. So we believe that God will help us to finish the term.
It is our hope that this time around things maybe would be, the environment will be safe for our learners to, and we pray really that we give our learners a chance this time around. We wish to see an educated nation because we are now old. Soon we'll be leaving the teaching profession and death, and some of us will die for sure. We know we are now old. So we wish to live or to see to it that our young ones, please, they take over the betting and develop the nation and the country.
Kudistebheka last year asathi kusinyaka utawuma kanjani but kusebenza kabi vele so siyethemba ukuthi sitawusebenza kahle lo nyaka sifuqe for exam yethu njenganga February nanga March ema competing classes.
We really need the learners to be around to prepare and settle. Ngoba lokhu kakhulu is they changing their mindset into seeing that nyalo sekuyasetshenzwa nyalo.
Some of the high school head teachers encouraged parents to pay school fees so they could cover operational costs. For Eswatini TV News, Fortune Dlangamandla, with Vimkosi Nzinisa Mbabane.
The Municipal Council of Mbabane says in 3 weeks' time it would have finished rehabilitating 50 streets. Mbabane Municipal Council Information and Public Relations Officer Lakita Bete says over 1 million emalangeni has been set aside for the project.
Since most roads under the Mbabane Municipal Council are in a bad state, the council have revealed it plans to rehabilitate them. The council's Information and Public Relations Officer Lakita Bete says one of the problems is that the roads have exceeded their lifespans.
If it was according to our wishes, we would have fixed the entire road network. But then we don't have the funds to do that. So what we do, we have to sort one street at a time, money allowing, of course. So right now, the situation is that we're faced with, we have about 30 roads or streets that have been damaged in total, and these streets were damaged by the rain.
On the issue of Mhlambanyati Road, especially from Vagweliche to Hilltop, which is in very bad state, Tabete says he hopes the council and the Ministry of Public Works and Transport will soon find a strategy how to fix the road.
Leyo vele idinga ukuthi ikhulunywe bantu abadala bayikhulume endlini kagogo ukuthi ngabe kulungise kanjani ngoba vele nathi silidolobha kusibeka kabi. Angeke uthi umuntu lohlala eveni akwendeki engce lomgwaqo lo ye-Hilltop. And kusivisa buhlungu vele ukuthi sesitawu udasina ukuthi uhamba ngalukhanze youth ukhanzela abafana abancane lapha sebahoha imoti sebafuna emashumi nani uyabona nganye lo mgwaqo lo uhamba kakhulu emaloli khanza singanyela ngase kungadaleka ingoti.
The issue of poor road infrastructure is a great issue in the country, and the Ministry of Public Works and Transport has since rolled out its strategy to rehabilitate them. For Eswatini TV News, Fortune Dlangamandla, with Vimkosi Nzinisa Mbabane.
The Matapa Town Board says it will find a way to ensure that businesses are not affected as it starts the rehabilitation of the King's Opposite the 2nd Avenue Road. This was said by the Communications Officer Sihle Sihlongonyane during the visit of the construction company to assess how the rehabilitation will be done to continuity of businesses.
Before the end of last year, the Matapa Town Board announced that it will rehabilitate the King's Opposite the 2nd Avenue Road. The Communications Officer Sihle Sihlongonyane says as the rehabilitation process begins, they will make sure that businesses are not affected as they still want development to continue.
Today is the official beginning of the project yethu lesayicala namuhla kwakha umgwaqo noma ngesiteps semgwaqo King's Opposite the 2nd Avenue. Lo project ke lesibheke ukuthi itawuthatha amaviki la 12.
He says the construction company has visited the site to determine how they will work. He says the rehabilitation of the road will cost the town board about 1.6 million emalangeni. According to government, in the past year, roads covering 1,328 kilometers have been bladed around the country. Over 90% of the roads earmarked for maintenance have been covered, and the Pro-Base project covering 200 kilometers has been completed. For Eswatini TV News, Nelson Dlangamandla with Mbongwa Dube, Matapa.
And now we'll have a look at our financial report.
Standard Bank. It can be.
Good evening once again. You're still watching Eswatini TV. Let's have a look at our sports news. Golf development coach Eswatini says he hopes this year there will be more junior competitions as compared to the past years. Zwane was speaking in an interview with journalists from this broadcaster in Babane.
Golf was greatly affected by the coronavirus outbreak, such that in the past years they were not able to host many development tournaments that they would rather normally have. This included missing out in the cancelled Africa Games that were to be played in Egypt. Local development coach Eswatini says he hopes year 22 will be much better compared to previous years.
Kule minyaka lesisuka kiwo ngisho ukuthi sive sikubena lenkinga ngale ngenxa yesifo le COVID, but ke nyalo sesiyabona ukuthi sicala kuba lulanyana bantu sebakhona lokuthi ba diphephisa kanjani, and bamfana sesiyabona leliningi labo selithandana seliyapho seliyaphatheka. So this year we are planning lokuthi sitawuzama nathi lokuthi siphakamise mandla, otherwise nje ngasho lokuthi kuyathembisa kulomnyaka.
Junior golfer Mongiwethu Masuku says he is excited for the year ahead and he hopes there will be enough games.
You know, honestly, I'm very excited. I'm just hoping that there are going to be a lot of tournaments, especially for the juniors around the country, like Ngonyeni, Royal Swazi. More or less, I feel really excited and I'm preparing, you know. Whatever happens, happens, but it could be really special if we could have more game time and rounds to play against the other people, better players and all, yeah.
The coach concluded by saying he also hopes that they will be able to have the young golfers reach the level they were once in. Reporting for Eswatini TV Sports News, I am Patizum Sibi, Babane.
Young Buffalo's development coach Mbongwa Dlamini says taking care of the young players' needs is what has seen them producing young talented players. Dlamini says the dream is now to have a national academy.
Young Buffaloes is one of the teams that has over the years seemed to be doing a good job in development of young players who eventually turn out for Premier League teams. Teams like Monene Pirates and Manzini Wanderers have in the past years used their product, as even this season Monene Pirates has got more players coming from the development. Already established players in the league, the likes of Lindan Matsenj, who plays for Babane Highlanders, is also the product of Buffaloes. Development coach Mbongwa Dlamini says the dream is to now have a national academy that will produce players for every team.
Besihamba sithenge badlali alokuthi mhlambe sifuna i-team iphokophelele phambili, mhlambe kwahamba abantu labadala abasabuka babona ukuthi hayi singaba nayo mhlambe indlela yokuthi sale sitakhela thina kube i-long term goal, that long term project lefike yasisebenzela ke noko sisaqhubeka sibonile kusukela 2010 till today ngoba ka Premier League nje masiya nje mina ngawubekisa masiya sithi siyobukela, mina sengivamisa kuya ngiyobukela ibhola, ngisuke ngingabukela ini, ngisuke ngiyobuka ukuthi le ndlela solo isekhona kulabafana kuwo onke lamateam ngoba thina inhloso yethu akusiyo yeBuffalo le academy, sengawubekisa ngawuthi academy yelive, sekuyi academy lekithi akusesiyo i-development yeBuffalo kuphela, sekuyi academy eneke kuyigoli mhlawumbe abantu abadala nanyalo basaphokophelele ukuthi sale sikwakavele kuba i-academy kungasathiwa iBuffalo ngoba labanye abantu bagcina bayithatha kamawuthi iBuffalo.
Dlamini says taking care of the young stars is what makes them be able to focus on football. Dlamini also thanked the team managers who says have been very supportive, which makes their job to be easy. Reporting for Eswatini TV Sports News, I am Patizum Sibi, Manzini.
That's all for now. Before we conclude, let's have a look at our top stories. The Prime Minister Cleopas Dlamini has arrived in Lilongwe, Malawi for the 41st Extraordinary SADC Summit. The Ministry of Education and Training Principal Secretary Begi Gama says the first day of school's opening was smooth. And with that, we sum up our bulletin for the evening. Up next is the weather update from myself and the team. Thank you for your company. Good night.